Hi guys. Okay, welcome to my vlog. Arvan tells a story. We are gonna talk about India. Officially, the Republic of India is a country in South Asia. It is the seventh largest country by area, the second most populous country, and the most populous democracy in the world. India is bounded by the Indian Ocean and the Arabian Sea on the southwest and the Bay of Bengal on the southeast. It shares land borders with Pakistan to the west, China, Nepal and Bhutan to the north, and Bangladesh and Myanmar to the east. It is in the vicinity of Sri Lanka and the Maldives. Its Andaman and Nicobar Islands share a maritime border with Thailand, Myanmar, and Indonesia. Modern humans arrived on the Indian subcontinent from Africa no later than 55,000 years ago. Their long occupation, initially in varying forms of isolation as hunter-gatherers, has made the region highly diverse, second only to Africa in human genetic diversity. Settlers life emerged on the subcontinent and the western margins of the Indus River Basin 9,000 years ago, evolving gradually into the Indus Valley civilization of the 3rd millennium BCE. By 1200 BCE, an archaic form of Sanskrit, an Indo-European language, had diffused into India from the northwest, unfolding as the language of the Rig Veda and a recording to dawning of Hinduism and in India. The Dravidian language of India was supplanted in the northern and western regions by 400 BCE. Stratification and exclusion by caste had emerged within Hinduism, and Buddhism and Jainism had arisen, proclaiming social orders unlinked to heredity. Early political consolidations gave rise to the loose Knight Maurya and Gupta empires based in the Ganges Basin. Their collective era was suffered with wide-ranging creativity but also marked by the declining status of women, and the incorporation of untouchability into an organized system of belief. In South India, the Middle Kingdoms exported Dravidian languages, scripts, and religious cultures to the kingdoms of Southeast Asia. In the early medieval era, Christianity, Islam, Judaism, and Zoroastrianism became established on India's southern and western coasts. Muslim armies from Central Asia intermittently overran India's northern plains, eventually founding to Delhi Sultanate and drawing northern India into the cosmopolitan networks of medieval Islam. In the 15th century, the Vijayanagara Empire created a long-lasting composite Hindu culture in South India. In the Punjab, Sikhism emerged, rejecting institutionalist religion. The Mughal Empire in 1526 usurped in 2 centuries of relative peace, leaving a legacy of luminous architecture. Gradually expanding rule of the British East India Company followed, turning India into a colonial economy, but also consolidating its sovereignty. British Crown rule began in 1858. The rights promised to Indians were granted slowly, but technological changes were introduced and ideas of education, modernity, and public life took root. A pioneering and influential nationalist movement emerged, which was not for non-violent resistance and became the major factor in ending British rule. In 1947, the British Indian Empire was partitioned into 2 independent dominions, a Hindu majority dominion of India and a Muslim majority dominion of Pakistan. amid large-scale loss of life and unprecedented migration. India has been a federal republic since 1950. Governed through a democratic parliamentary system, it is a pluralistic, multilingual, and multi-ethnic society. India's population grew from 361, 361 million in 1951 to 1.211 billion in 2011. During the same time, its nominal per capita income increased from $64 annually to 1,498, and its literacy rate from 60.6% to 74%. From being comparatively destitute country in 1951, India's fast-growing major economy is the world's fifth largest by nominal terms and the third largest by PPP. The country is a hub for information, technology, and services with an expanding middle class. It has a space program which includes several planned or completed extraterrestrial missions. Indian movies, music, and spiritual teachings play an increasing role in global culture. India has substantially reduced its rate of poverty, though at the cost of increasing economic inequality. India is a nuclear weapon state, which ranks high in military expenditure. It has disputes over Kashmir with its neighbors, Pakistan and China, unresolved since the mid-20th century. Among the socio-economic challenges India faces are gender inequality, child malnutrition, and rising levels of air pollution. India's land is megadiverse, with 4 biodiversity hotspots in forest cover comprises 21.7% of its area. India's wildlife, which has traditionally been viewed with tolerance in India's culture, is supported among the forests and elsewhere in protected habitats. About history, by 55,000 years ago, the first modern humans, or Homo sapiens, had arrived on the Indian subcontinent from Africa, where they had earlier evolved. The earliest known modern human remains in South Asia date to about 3,000 years ago, after 6,500 BCA. Evidence for domestication of food crops and animals, construction of permanent structures, and storage of agricultural surplus appears in Mehgar and other sites in what is now Balochistan, Pakistan. This gradually develops into the Indus Valley civilization, the first urban culture in South Asia, which flourished during 2500 until 1900 BCA in what is now Pakistan and Western India. Centers around cities such as Mohenjo-daro, Harappa, Dholavira, and Kalibangan, and relying on variety of forms of subsistence, the civilization engaged robustly in crafts, production, and wide-ranging trade. The Indian early medieval age, from 600 to 1200 CA, is defined by regional kingdoms and cultural diversity. When Harsa of Kannauj, who ruled much of the Indo-Gangetic plain from 606 to 647 CE, attempted to expand southwards, he was defeated by Chalukya, ruler of the Deccan. When his successor attempted to expand eastwards, he was defeated by the Pala king of Bengal. The Indian early medieval age from 600 to 1200 CE is defined by regional kingdoms and cultural diversity. When Harsa of Kannauj, who ruled much of the Indo-Gangetic plain from 606 to 647 CE, attempted to expand southwards, he was defeated by the Chalukya, ruler of the Deccan. When his successors attempted to expand eastwards, he was defeated by the Pala king of Bengal. When the Chalukayas attempted to expand southwards. They were defeated by the Pallavas from the farther south, who in turn were opposed by the Pandyas and the Cholas from still farther south. No ruler of the period was able to create an empire and constantly control lands much beyond their core region. During this time, pastoral peoples whose land had been cleared to make way for the growing agricultural economy were accommodated within caste society as were new or non-traditional ruling classes. The caste system consequently began to show regional differences. In the early 16th century, northern India, then under mainly Muslim rulers, fell again to the superior mobility and firepower of a new generation of Central Asian warriors. The resulting Mughal Empire did not stamp out the local societies it came to rule. Instead, it balanced and pacified them through new administrative practices and diverse and inclusive ruling elites, leading to more systematic, centralized, and uniform rule. Eschewing tribal bonds and Islamic identity, especially under Akbar, the Mughals united their far-flung realms through loyalty, expressed through a Persianist culture to an emperor who had near divine status. The Mughal state's economic policies, deriving most revenues from agriculture, and mandating that taxes be paid in the well-regulated silver currency, caused peasants and artisans to enter larger markets. The relative peace maintained by the empire during much of the 17th century was a factor in India's economic expansion, resulting in greater patronage of painting, literary forms, textiles, and architecture. Newly coherent social groups in northern and western India, such as the Marathas, the Rajputs, and the Sikhs, gained military and governing ambitions during Mughal rule, which through collaboration or adversity gave them both recognition and military experiences. Expanding commerce during Mughal rule gave rise to new Indian commercial and political elites along the coast of southern and eastern India. As the empire disintegrated, many among those elites were able to see and control their own affairs. And we still continue about historians consider India's modern age to have begun sometimes between 1848 and 1885. The appointment in 1848 of Lord Dalhousie as Governor General of the East India Company set the stage for change essential to modern state that included the consolidation and demarcation of sovereignty, the surveillance of the population, and the education of citizens. Technological changes, among them railways, canal, and the telegraph, were introduced not long after their introduction in Europe. However, this affection with the company also grew during this time and set off the Indian Rebellion of 1857, fed by diverse resentments and perception, including invasive British-style social reforms, harsh land taxes, and summary treatment of some rich landowners, and preceded the rebellion rocks many regions of northern and central India and shook the foundations of company rule. Although the rebellion was suppressed by 1858, it led to the dissolution of the East India Company and the direct administration of India by the British government, proclaiming a unitary state and gradual but limited British-style parliamentary system. The new rulers also protected princes and landed gentry as a feudal safeguard against future unrest. In the decades following, public life gradually emerged all over India, leading eventually to the founding of the Indian National Congress in 1885. Yeah, they said economy. Now we are talking about economy. According to the International Monetary Fund (IMF), the Indian economy in 2021 was nominally worth $3.04 trillion, and it's the sixth largest economy by market exchange rates and is around $10.216 trillion. The third largest by purchasing power parity, with its average annual GDP growth rate of 5.8% over the past 2 decades. Wow. During 2011 until 2012, India is one of the world's fastest growing economies. However, the country ranked 139th in the world in nominal GDP per capita and 118th in GDP per capita at PPP. Until 1991, all Indian governments followed protectionist policies that were influenced by socialist economics. Widespread state intervention and regulation largely walked the economy from the outside world. An acute balance of payment crisis in 1991 forced the nation to liberalize its economy. Since then, it has moved slowly towards a free market system by emphasizing both foreign trade and direct investment inflows. India has been a member of World Trade Organization since 1st of January 1995. The 522 billion workers Indian labor force is the world's second largest as of 2017. The service sector makes up 55.6% of GDP, the industrial sector 26.3%, and the agriculture sector 18.1%. India's foreign exchange remittances of $87 billion in 2021, highest in the world, were contributed to its economy by 32 million Indians working in foreign countries. Wow. Major agricultural products include rice, wheat, oilseed, cotton, tea, sugarcane, and potatoes. Major industries include textiles, telecommunications, chemicals, pharmaceuticals, biotechnology, food processing, steel, transport equipment, cement, mining, petroleum, machinery, and software. In 2006, the sales of external trade in India's GDP stood at 24%, up from 6% in 1985. In 2008, India's share of world trade was 1.68% in 2011. India was the world's 10th largest importer and the 19th largest exporter. Major exports include petroleum products, textile goods, jewelry, software, engineering goods, chemicals, and manufactured leather goods. Major imports include crude oil, machinery, gems, fertilizer, and chemicals. Between 2001 and 2011, the contribution of petrochemical and engineering goods to total export grew from 40% to 42%. India was the world's second largest textile exporter after China in the 2013 calendar year, averaging an economic growth rate of 7.5% for several years prior to 2007. India has more than doubled its hourly wage rates during the first decade of the 21st century. Some 431 million Indians have left poverty since 1985. India's middle class are projected to number around 580 million by 2030, top ranking 51st in global competitiveness as of 2010. India ranks 17th in financial market sophistication, 24 in the banking sector, 44 in the business sophistication, and 39 in innovation, ahead of several advanced economies, with 7 of the world's top 15 information technology outsourcing companies based in India. As of 2009, the country is viewed as the second most favorable outsourcing destination after the United States. India was ranked 46 in the Global Innovation Index in 2021, increasing its ranking considerably since 2015, where it was 81st. India's consumer market, the world's 11th largest, is expected to become 5th largest by 2030. Wow. Driven by growth, Indians' nominal GDP per capita increased steadily from 300 and $308 in 1991 when economic liberalization began to $1,380 in 2010 to an estimate $1,733 in 2018. However, it has remained lower than those of other Asian developing countries such as Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Sri Lanka, and Thailand, and is expected to remain so in the near future. And 2020 is about over $2,000. According to a 2011 PricewaterhouseCoopers report, India's GDP at purchasing power parity could overtake that of the United States by 2045. During the next 4 decades, Indian GDP is expected to grow at an annualized average of 8%, making it potentially the world's fastest growing major economy until 2050. The report highlights key growth factors: a young and rapidly growing working age population, growth in the manufacturing sector because of rising education and engineering skill levels, and sustained growth of the consumer market driven by a rapidly growing middle class. The World Bank cautioned that for India to achieve its economic potential, it must continue to focus on public sector reform, transport infrastructure, agricultural and rural development, removal of labor regulations, education, energy security, and public health and nutrition. According to the Worldwide Cost of Living Report 2017 released by the Economist Intelligence Unit, which was created by comparing more than 400 individual prices across 160 products and services. 4 of the cheapest cities were in India: Bangalore, Mumbai, Chennai, and New Delhi. Yeah. Okay, I think that's enough for India. Yeah. For you guys, thank you for watching. See you soon in another video. Bye.